Shortly after I returned from Israel and Palestine in March, Harold and DJ went with me to a board meeting of a group called Siraj, a Palestinian library project in which they were both devoted. While Harold's health and his mobility were clearly compromised, his passion for justice and peace was not. We were no more than 5 blocks from the Presbyterian home driving west on Gulf Road when Harold began ranting about Obama's decision to increase American troops in Afghanistan. I offered a few remarks which tended to moderate, to which Harold listened respectfully and then offered down a rope. It was then that I told Harold that he was a hothead, which at the time I was sure he ignored, but not so. I was away again in June and came to see Harold at McCaw as soon as I heard his condition had worsened. He greeted me warmly as always and said that I can't replicate Harold's capacity to pronounce. You know, he said, you paid me a great compliment some time ago. You called me a hothead. Well, you were right. I'm a hothead for justice and proud of it. As I age, I have come to believe that the most important measure of a person is the intensity and object of her or his love and passion. And as we all know, Harold was a passionate man. Passionate for peace and justice. Passionate for beauty and knowledge. Passionate for the 2 women he married. Passionate for his friends and family. Passionate for the gospel and for his church. I did not know Audrey, his first wife, but I have heard Harold talk so fondly of her, and I have known BJ for many years, and can only conclude that Harold had extremely good taste in women. As he said more than once, God has blessed me with 2 good women, whom he loved with all his heart, and they him. Visiting Harold and McCaw was an experience in marital and family loyalty. Hundreds of pictures were tacked to the wall at the end of his bed, all of which witnessed to his love of life and his love of family and friends. BJ and family members, children and grandchildren were always there, chatting, laughing, reassuring, sometimes just sitting quietly with him while he slept. And when he was awake, he was giving instructions on how we should organize his funeral. Rod, as you know, he wanted us to consult on our comments until I accused him of micromanaging. He later relented and reassured me in every visit that I should say whatever the hell I wanted. But as you have surely all noted, he did not relent on the instruction that women should escort his casket into and out of his church. Why miss an opportunity to witness on behalf of his sisters and his conviction about the place of women in this and every other institution? Harold could be tough and stubborn, but as Jim So quite naturally, Harold invited him to live with him in his home, and they became close friends. Every cause about which Harold became passionate had a human face. It was people Harold loved. It was on their behalf that he worked so passionately for justice and peace. Harold loved his church, and he practiced a piety which, so far as I can tell, was never a meaningless exercise. When I visited Harold one day this summer, he educated his poor Episcopalian, though with a little help from his son Bob, in the 15 mysteries of the Rosary, the glorious, the suffering, the joyous, as well as the 5 luminous mysteries added by Pope John Paul II. But Harold's love and loyalty to his church was of the variety every church, mosque, and synagogue should be envious, because it was a secondary loyalty. His primary loyalty was to God, to the gospel, and to the continuing incarnation of God's love in whatever form it appeared. If it was true and if it was loving, Harold embraced it. When he felt his church was not true to the gospel, he let them know it. The hierarchy, the cardinals, the archbishops, the priests, never intimidated Harold. They received more than one epistle, in which his admonishments, always respectfully stated, were detailed. And when that same hierarchy stood courageously on behalf of the poor and the oppressed, Harold gave them his respect and devotion. As many of you know, Archbishop Oscar Romero was one of Harold's heroes, and an icon of Romero hung on the wall along with his family pictures at the end of his bed. For Harold, the Christian faith was a way of life first, and an institution and a system of beliefs second. Harold was devoted to his friend Esteban and his beautiful wife Laurie, and most recently their son Luca, all now living in Jerusalem. Esteban so wanted to see Harold again. It was sad when I told him it was unlikely. He wrote a few comments. He asked that I included my remarks. Here is what Esteban had to say. During graduate school, when I found myself without a place to live, Harold opened his home to me. We had many late nights discussing politics, George W. Bush, Middle East conflict, and the Catholic Church were a few of his favorite topics. Drinking highballs, as he called them, and smoking the hookah. Harold was a man of principle with strong convictions. But it was truly his enormous love for life that would stay with him. Whether it was taking up Arabic in his 80s, throwing lively themed dinner parties, traveling the Middle East on his walker, or simply listening to music, Harold enjoyed every minute of his life. Thankful I can count Harold as a dear friend of mine, but I'm sorry I met him so late in life. Truth be told, I doubt I could have kept up with him in his younger days. Harold told me on more than one occasion that he hoped there would be hookah in heaven. If there is, you can bet he's enjoying it with a highball, with good poetry, and many, many friends. We miss you, Harold. But thank you for all the joy you have given us. And that all the
Amen.
A little louder for Harold. And all the people say,
Amen.